inexpensive. That's probably about £2, £3 at tops, I think, for one of those bags, and that'll probably make about 10 pizzas. You know, if you think about what you pay for them in the shop, they're very, very expensive. So first thing we do, whoever wants to weigh these out. Who wants to weigh these out? Right, so first thing we need to do is this, ladies, because it's flour free. We need to make sure that whatever we do, because I can't remember her name, so I'm calling her this lady. Rani, because I can't remember her name. We're going to weigh hers out first, so we know that there's definitely no flour in it, so she's very safe.
Good.
So,
would it be okay if I done the gluten free? Because I'm not meant to have it. Is that okay? So
of course it is. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's fine. No problem at all. I've never made gluten-free basic dough either,
Yeah,
so it's going to be a learning curve for me. Morning. Good morning. Can I get you to just put your stuff down, ladies, please, and wash your hands before we start, please? Thank you. Right. So we're going to measure this out.
Nice little scales, isn't
Yeah, they're lovely. Actually, they're really nice because they measure liquids, all sorts of stuff, and they're about. I think they cost me about £10. They're very good. Yeah, they're very, very nice.
Oh, it's too much.
That's right, £2.50 of that. And then once I've done this, I want you to copy me who's doing it on your own, so you actually get used to doing it yourself.
That's your copies,
yeah. Now when you put this jug on here, all you do is press the 0 button, it goes back to 0. Yeah, so it's dead simple.
Well, that's handy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very good. So we want 3/4 of a teaspoon, which I haven't got a teaspoon with me, which is great. Have you all got a teaspoon?
Yeah, I've got one here. I can pay it.
Right, so we want 3/4 of a teaspoon dried yeast. About that much. Then the liquid we want, the 150 ml of lukewarm water. Now what that means is, and I'm sure you know what that means, but basically blood temperature. So you want to get it, fill it with our finger, make sure it's the right temperature. If it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast. If it's too cold, it won't activate the yeast. Okay? So, but what we're going to do with this one, because this is a gluten-free, we're going to put a very small spoonful of honey in it to get it to ferment. Okay? Now I'm putting it directly in there, which is what you'd normally put the sugar in if you were going to have sugar in your...
Is it sugar in gluten? Is sugar in gluten? Gluten in sugar?
No, it's purely because it's diabetic.
Oh,
so
diabetic.
I'm doing the diabetic one first, but when you come to doing it, it's the same amount of sugar as honey.
Yeah.
Right, so now we want 150 ml of lukewarm water. So go up to there with lukewarm water, and it's going to be baked. So I'm quite happy using warm water out of the tap, and I'll put a little bit of warm and a little bit of cold. Now the temperature of this is really, really important. It's a little bit too cold.
It's all written down here. You can take one of these.
Now you don't put all of the water in there at one go. If you ladies want to feel the temperature of that, so you know exactly what temperature I'm talking about, no warmer than that. Yeah, no warmer than that, some ladies, alright? Just feel the temperature of that, so you know, no warmer than that. If you have it warmer than that, like I said, it will kill the yeast. If you have it too cold, it won't activate it. No?
It's just like your temperature.
Yeah, it's blood temperature.
Yeah, I would have
If it's too hot, that's where people make such a big mistake of doing it too hot or too cold. Then we're not going to use all this water to activate the yeast. We're just going to put a tiny little bit in and mix it around. And this is going to take 10 to 15 minutes to prove. And what it means by proving is it activates the yeast and goes frothy. So what I always like to do with when I'm doing this is cover it up and put it in a warm place. Sorry ladies, I'll just grab a cloth. Can you smell that yeast now? You smell it? It's quite a strong smell. All I'm going to do is cover this up, and this is warm, but it's not too warm for that. It's just warm enough to get it fermenting. But with your dough when we've made the dough, you need to cling film it or cover it with a cloth and put it in a warm place to prove. It's going to take an hour to prove the first time, and then once we knock it back, we'll go through all that, and once we knock it back, then we need to prove it again before we use it, okay? So we've got that. Now we need a little bit of salt in here. With the salt, as you know, you're only allowed 6 grams of salt a day per person. Now with this it says 4 grams of salt.
Do you
If
have
we
Thai
put-
salt?
You don't have to, but it's just flavour really.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you if you don't want salt in it. If someone could go without the salt, then all well and good, it's better. Right, so 4 grams of salt. This is so delicate that it will weigh 4 grams, if you'll see what I mean. And then it's a good way of doing it because then you can tell exactly what 4 grams is. That's 4 grams. So basically, that's less than a fraction less than a teaspoon. Yeah? So basically, your entire intake of salt per day is supposed to be 6 grams total. Yeah? So that then goes in there.
So we can have that if you like.
Yeah,
Good.
that's fine. It's not unhealthy to have 6 grams.
How many people are you making that pizza?
This pizza, I'm making a 250 gram mix, which should do roughly two about 8-inch pizzas.
So you can actually split that salt
Yeah.
intake
Yeah.
because it's for
Yeah.
2 people.
Definitely, yeah. But then again, if you like a thicker pizza, that will do one 10-inch nice
Okay.
thick.
How much did you put the flour in the bowl?
The flour there, you've got all the measurements down there, so it's 250 grams, but you're going to do it in a minute. You can each take your bits away and do it. A teaspoon of olive oil, sorry, a tablespoonful of olive oil, start again. You can put that into your yeast as well, because that's all going to be mixed in bit by bit.
It can go in already.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not going to work. This is there's no rush for this, but once this is fermented, then we're going to combine it with the flour slowly, and then we combine slowly the rest of the liquid, and then we start to make it into a dough, then we bash it about, give it good ironing, and then we put it over there and warm it proof, yeah? Okay? But we're going to put the oil in next. So 1 tablespoon, just put it in there like that. Obviously the olive oil, as you know ladies, is not saturated fat, so it's good for your body and your body can digest it and process it quite well. So there's no problem, it's good for your health as well. Right, so that's that part of it. Now we need to wait till that's proved before we start mixing it. So if you ladies want to weigh your respective flours, if you do your one first because of this, and then ladies, if you can come round either in your pairs or whatever groups you want to work in, that's fine, and do your own mixes.